Good morning and welcome all to our virtual airport parking network event 2020. We understand that airport parking has been hit especially hard this year and wanted to ensure that the community has a way to stay connected. We have hosted APNE for the last 12 years and have always loved being able to see you all in person in various parts of Europe. This year's plans were no different, as we had prepared to meet you all in Madrid. However, due to the pandemic and restrictions on business travel, we were unsure whether to hold our event at all, but finally decided to hold this 12th edition online. We understand that business continuity is needed, especially for this hugely impacted vertical in parking. We are proud that we have reached a good balance this year between our vendors and our airport parking managers, as in other years. We have over 200 airports represented at our event this year and are happy to welcome each and every one of you. I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Gerald Krebs, who is Senior Vice President of Parking and Mobility at Fraport AG. Fraport is one of the leading players in the global airport business, offering a wide range of operational and management solutions based over 95 years of aviation expertise. With operations from Europe to Asia and the Americas, Fraport is active around the globe. Gerald has kindly put together a presentation to show us what has been happening at Frankfurt Airport and how the pandemic has affected business. Let's hear more from Gerald now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dear colleagues in the airport parking industry, my name is Gerald Krebs. I am Senior Vice President of the Business Unit Parking and Mobility at Frankfurt Airport. Today, I want to give you an overview about the current situation at Frankfurt, which is, I suppose, more or less quite similar to the situation of most airports around the world. I want to talk about the specific situation of Fraport's parking business and about our plans for recovery and the future. The impact of the crisis. How shall I describe the feeling of strolling through our closed and empty Terminal 2 and the roller coaster of emotions during the last months? Our CEO, Stefan Schulte, was interviewed by a major German newspaper last week. The headline of the interview is, "The situation is really bad. Say no more." I took this picture of the famous Gullfoss waterfall after last year's ACI conference in Reykjavik. I was participating in a session called Adapt or Die, the death of the car. The outcome was not as pessimistic as the title of the session. The mood of the participants was great, and on the weekend we were visiting the Game of Thrones sites. However, winter is coming seems like a suitable assessment for the next month. So, what happened after the lockdown in March and April? Traffic volumes dropped by more than 90%. But still, in the springtime, airport operators, airlines and customers alike expected the situation to be better with warmer temperatures and were still optimistic, hoping for a good summer. In fact, we had a small-scale recovery in the summer months. Despite all restrictions, traveling was possible again. The plans for the winter flight schedule were up to 50% of 2019 levels. But as we all know, things went wrong again. The pandemic hit back and passenger volume dropped again by 83% in September, October, and November, even worse, despite all efforts of the aviation industry to care for safe environments. The remaining passengers are not the usual frequent flyers and business travelers paying parking fees with their corporate cards, but typically more families heading for Eastern Europe destinations, expats, and some fearless holiday travelers heading to designated non-risk areas or their winter homes in the south. Frankfurt Airport depends on Lufthansa's business model. And as a major hub and long-distance carrier, Lufthansa struggles naturally more with the crisis than, for example, Ryanair. The executive board of Lufthansa has decided to put the company into a so-called hibernation mode and reduces flights during the winter season to 25%. Administrative functions are reduced to a minimum. The company burns 500,000 euros each hour, 24 hours a day. As if this would be not enough, the industry gets political pressure from the more and more radical critics of the climate change. And there is another specific issue for Frankfurt Airport. The crisis hits within the biggest airport expansion program in history, and we passed the point of no return. The situation required immediate action. In March, we established a massive cost-cutting program and secured liquidity. We built up a cash reserve of 2.7 billion euros. Terminal 2 was closed, and we negotiated all cost-relevant aspects of our business. We developed plans for a reduction of more than 4,000 jobs. And we also reduced 1 billion euro investment projects. By November 2020, we are amidst the worst crisis ever for the travel industry, but we are confident that Frankfurt Airport, hopefully sooner than later, is going to recover successfully. Currently, we assume a full recovery to the level of 2019 in 2025 or even later. 2021, we expect 35 to 45% of the 2019 traffic, which was about 70 million plus passengers. And 2024, 80 to 90%. So let's talk about the impact of the COVID-19 crisis on the parking. In line with the company's strategy, the business unit Parking and Mobility executed immediate OpEx cuts, canceled and postponed projects, short-time work and salary cuts for all employees, including all management levels, and the implementation of Relaunch 50. This is the strategic project for recovery after the crisis. With Relaunch 50, we assume a traffic volume of 50 million passengers in 2023. In addition to prior cost-cutting programs, we generally reduce staff by 30% in 2021. So in the last weeks and months, we were occupied with organizational adjustments and negotiations. A major challenge proved to be, and is still, to convince 1/3 of our team to search for new job opportunities or retire early with according financial disadvantages. On the other side, there are still 2/3 who need to be motivated with optimistic forecasts, not a simple task. We also had challenging negotiations with our partners, for example, car rental companies and airlines, regarding the long-term rental contracts. However, it was quite amazing to see that within all the chaos around, e-commerce remained a strong revenue source, even though the cancellation rate is still high, but this is for obvious reasons. In general, even in the crisis, the non-aviation segment remains the financial motor and backbone for the airport. When the first lockdown began, we didn't imagine the tsunami of booking cancellations. Since the cancellation rate for parking was usually really low and not significant, we couldn't provide an automated cancellation process in March. Result was an overload of our customer service with thousands of emails requesting refund each day, and in addition, thousands of angry calls day and night. Even our payment service provider was temporarily not capable of processing so many so-called reverse transactions. We also didn't expect the number of care-intensive, time-consuming, individual, and sometimes even tragic requests and cases. For example, when customers were stranded overseas and the car was still left at the airport here. Fraport is a traditional company with classic office working spaces. The digital communication, for example, video conferencing, was not seen as a necessary tool by the IT department, but more like a potential source of network overload and also a security risk. The majority of the employees still used classic desktop personal computers in order to save IT expenses. From one day to another, we had to purchase new hardware, software licenses, virtual private network and data security tools to enable to our colleagues and ourselves to work from home. As predicted by the IT department, the network was first not capable to process the suddenly increased data volumes, and communicating was quite bumpy. However, after a couple of weeks, the new normal worked perfectly well, and the crisis helped to speed up a necessary digitalization process, which is one of the good outcomes of the crisis. In order to reduce operational expenditures, for example, the expensive shuttle buses, we closed our remote parking lot called holiday parking, and remaining passengers got taxi vouchers from us also in order to save cost. We also closed Terminal 2 and the adjacent underground parking with 4,500 spaces. We saw the crisis as an opportunity to execute major maintenance and renovations of the road system, forecourts, and also the parking facilities. Due to the low traffic volumes, complexity was reduced and the works could be performed during normal working hours. This saved a 6-digit amount of euros. The crisis of all companies in the aviation industry forced them to apply new work models and also to adjust capacities. That meant and still means a lot of negotiations with those companies which are usually partners from Fraport. Finally, we developed the market side of the relaunch strategy. The reopening of Terminal 2 is scheduled for summer 2021, the opening of the multi-story parking Terminal 3 in 2022. However, since the opening of Terminal 3 is postponed to at least 2025, The parking will meanwhile serve as a remote parking area with a huge capacity. We aim for strengthening our marketing position and win back customers from off-airport and valet parkings. Talking about off-airport parking. At Frankfurt Airport, we have to deal with 75 operators of off-airport parkings and valet services. With the crisis, we expected a significant consolidation of the market. But what actually happened was quite surprising. In the middle of the crisis, 14 new operators emerged, some of them with glittering names like Parking Paradise, most of them without a serious parking lot and far away from the airport. On the other hand, some of the existing operators, for example, air parks, they paused operations since the potential revenues don't even cover the operational expenditures of the shuttle buses. The prices of off-airport parking dropped to 24 euros per week. This includes the transfer to the airport. We assume that the single purpose of those recently opened businesses is to get governmental aids for the COVID crisis and basically fraud. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, the current situation is dramatic, but we strongly believe in recovery, both for aviation and parking. We do not believe that operators like that one are going to retain market shares after the crisis. And this is a huge potential for us. So there's life in the old dog yet. The relaunch strategy. We prepared a marketing campaign with focus on traveling by private car and parking close to the terminal, avoiding unnecessary contacts and interactions. We offer attractive products, for example, our business parking areas with comfortable parking spaces and also for attractive prices. Our strategy is the conversion of drive-up customers to online customers. Online prices are generally cheaper than drive-up prices. We contact our B2B partners and offer flexible contracts in these uncertain times. Finally, airport parking is part of Fraport's health protection policy with additional cleaning and disinfection of all contact points. You might think that the private car might be old school, but we believe it is still the most comfortable and safest mode of transport to the airport during and after the Corona crisis. We already implemented a contactless customer process, a best price guarantee for online bookings, and a flexible free of charge cancellation policy. We focus on search engine marketing at the moment, at least, and keep in touch with our customers via newsletters and mailings. Unfortunately, the crisis slowed down the momentum of our digital projects due to reduced financial and human resources available. But the parking e-commerce business is still the most important and most successful digital enterprise of the airport. We constantly make 5 digits of revenues per day, even in these days, through the digital channels, which is one of the rare positive surprises at the moment. In addition, parking is usually the first touch point and an excellent opportunity for customer engagement. Our strategy is to drive retail and food and beverage revenues through the successful parking sales channels. That means to convert the parking customers to retail customers and food and beverage customers. How do we do that? To give you at least a glimpse of what we are doing in the digital world, please take a look at the overview of the customer journey and the integrated mobility and omnichannel concept. Starting with the preparation of a journey, we identified possible touch points to get in touch and contact with the customers and to keep them in our digital ecosystem. The booking of a parking space gives us certain information about the customer's needs that allow us to address with relevant campaigns. The success of the campaigns is easy to track, and even in the crisis, these campaigns work really well, which is actually a surprise for us, because with these numbers of passengers we have at Frankfurt Airport, we expected it to be lower, but still customers are booking their parking space and they are buying in the retail shops. Part of our strategy is boosting e-commerce sales through a variety of sales channels. Another important part of our digital strategy is the utilization of these various channels, which could be airlines, travel agents, business travel systems, and price comparison sites, and also booking portals. Coming from a simple white labeling solution, we are now able to integrate our booking engine via Park Aero's transaction platform into the various systems. Finally, I want to speak about our infrastructure projects. The development of the Airport City Gateway Gardens continues, despite the crisis. The construction of a new multi-story parking with 1,300 parking spaces is not interrupted and not delayed. We already signed contracts with key customers, and we are looking forward to finish construction in April 2021. The construction of Terminal 3 is slowed down, and the start of operation is postponed at least to 2025, maybe 2026, depending on the recovery of the passenger volumes. The progress of the construction of our multi-story parking, which is adjacent to Terminal 3, is in schedule, and we expect to be operational by 2022. The two units of the parking comprise 8,500 spaces, and our strategic approach is to substitute our surface level long-term parking through the multi-story parking and connect the building to the existing terminals via shuttle bus for the first 2 years as some sort of interim solution. Major feature of the building is the internal traffic concept, which allows us to use the building with maximum flexibility, for example, for rental cars, car sharing, automated valet parking, if available, and electric vehicles. Electric vehicle charging capacity is going to be up to 450 vehicles simultaneously. With Terminal 3 in operation, we are going to use for customer transfer the high-performance people mover system, which connects Terminal 1 to the parking through a 7-minute ride. Finally, I want to speak about the expected post-corona differences. We expect at least temporary boost for private car and rental car as a safe and reliable mode of transport. If you take a look at the catchment area of Frankfurt Airport, and that your journey often begins early in the morning or ends late in the evening, public transport is and will not be a comfortable alternative for private cars in the next years. The level of business travel is not expected to full recovery, for example, due to the success of video conferencing tools and also the upcoming economical crisis we face. We expect a full recovery of leisure traffic by 2025. We need to deal with an increasing number of electric vehicles due to beneficial tax regulations, changed customer behavior, and pressure from politics and the media. A vast majority of parking transactions will be online, except meet and greet transactions. Innovative modes of transport. To be honest, we do not believe that automated valet parking is going to be significant for commercial success in the next years, but we follow the developments. And in the next 2 years, there's going to be a price war between off-airport parking operators. We expect it to be difficult to return to the pre-corona price levels, especially for long-term parking. Gute Reise. Wir sorgen dafür. Have a good journey. We take care of it. That's our mission statement. It's what was created some years ago, but in uncertain times, it makes even more sense. Without doubt, we are facing a lot of changes and also risks, but we are also convinced that the post-corona world brings a new dimension of opportunities. Please take care and stay healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for your attention.
We would like to thank Gerald and Fraport AG for their presentation, and we look forward to better days for the aviation industry. Many of you here today have come to our event in the past. We are usually in touch with our solutions and service providers regularly, but for the airports, we may have limited contact throughout the year until our next event. Did you know that you can send us unlimited job postings or news regarding the parking facilities at your airport at any time, and that our core business since 1996 is in fact our digital platform parking.net? Connecting parking professionals worldwide has been our vision from the very beginning, and we will be launching a brand new platform very soon, which we are all very excited about. I would now like to show you our short info tour about the services we offer at Parking Network.
Parking Network is the leading service provider for the parking industry. As a trusted partner, our key focus is to connect parking professionals worldwide, deliver the information they need, and provide platforms for doing business. Parking Network brings the demand and supply side of parking together through our business platform. On our website, parking-net.com, we provide the latest parking-related news, blogs and showcases, as well as a weekly video with the latest updates in the industry. Are you looking for a new career within the industry? Our online platform has the latest job openings from around the world with direct links to the right contacts for the job. Our industry directory has over 1,700 suppliers that will inform you of their company's latest products and solutions. Parking Network has the largest parking-related groups and pages in Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, with followers from all over the world. We use social media to share the latest news, events, and happenings in the industry. We also host niche-specific networking events for airports, shopping centers, hospitals, and more. During these two-day events, parking operators meet with the leading solution providers, attend interactive workshops, and take part in meaningful discussions of the most pressing parking needs. Our webinars, hosted by leaders in the industry, are free to all participants, connecting the supply and demand side without anyone having to leave the office. Our business membership program is an extension of your company's business development, marketing, and sales department. We offer our members our connections worldwide, full use of our platform, including our tender database, and unlimited job postings. We help promote your business with an extended company profile on our platform, rotating banners on our website, and at trade shows around the world. We offer our members the possibility to participate in our networking events and to host a webinar. This two-way relationship will enhance your visibility within the industry and grow your business. By joining Parking Network, you are accelerating your success in the parking industry and becoming part of our community of more than 100 business members, all leaders in the industry. Join the largest virtual trade show with over 48,000 monthly visitors and with more than 20 years of experience in B2B networking. Join Parking Network and accelerate your success.
I hope that has given you some insight in what we offer throughout the rest of the year. And I hope that we can stay connected after our event until we can see you in person in 2021. You will all have made your choices of discussions, workshops and one-to-one networking meetings, and will all have your personalized agendas for today and tomorrow. Today you will be able to discuss with your peers the issues that you are currently facing in our airport parking managers discussions. Opportunities today and tomorrow include plentiful workshops hosted by our solution and service providers, in which you can learn more about how to improve parking facilities at your airport. Also, you will have the opportunity for short one-to-one meetings during which you can discuss your requirements with our experts. Remember that it's not too late to take a seat at sessions if you have a free slot. And I would encourage you to take part in as many workshops as you can. I hope you have all managed to add a profile picture so that we can all see each other when booking a meeting. The attendee list is showing only the airport parking managers is available to you all. You can find the button at the top right of your dashboard. Our solution and service providers can invite airports to empty one-to-one networking slots, and our airport parking managers can use this list to connect with one another. If you're connected, you will receive the digital business card of your peer in your email so you can stay connected after our event. Unfortunately, it is not possible for airports to arrange one-to-ones with each other during our event, but if you would like to meet up afterwards and would like a formal introduction facilitated by us, we will be more than happy to help you. There may be some vendors who would like to meet each other during our event. Unfortunately, this is not possible with the technical restrictions of the system, and vendors will not be able to create meetings with each other. However, we shall supply our vendors with a full list of vendors who are present at APNE 2020. The pink menu button at the top right of your dashboard will have a number displayed if you have received a connection or meeting request. So please keep an eye on this. Towards the end of the session you are in, you will see a timer and a pop-up will appear to remind you of your next session. Please remember to activate this pop-up so that you will be taken automatically to the next session in your agenda. If in any case you get lost at any point during the day, simply click on the My Sessions button underneath your profile picture and you will see a list of location links. Just find the right one for the time and click on it to be taken to your session. I think that's it for all. Housekeeping is done. If you have any problems during the next 2 days, please send us an email to events@parking-net.com or give us a call at our office at 0031 43 362 8042. Just before the airport parking managers discussion begins today, let us show you what our solution and service providers had to say in discussion last year about upcoming airport parking trends for 2020. We can see which predictions have come through, and perhaps we will get some insights for our discussions beginning very soon.
Joining the discussion, we have Andy from Carnaway, Ben from Parkvia, Ed from Parking Sense, and Arne from Parkos. Ben, what do you think is driving airport parking trends?
That's a really big question. So for us, one of the things that we see is that the consumers are getting more and more sophisticated and consumers are getting more and more demanding. That's not something that's being driven by airport parking or even the aggregators in airport parking. That's being driven by wider technological advancements. So your consumers are used to buying from Amazon, they're used to shopping with a 1 or a 2-click purchase, and they bring that sort of level of demand and that level of expectation of experience when they're shopping for airport parking. So we have an increasingly demanding consumer, and then there's obviously other sort of technological threats that are coming into airport parking, looking at ride sharing in particular. What this has done and what this will continue to do is increase the level of sophistication that's required in airport parking to keep going effectively. It's a major threat, but it's also a major opportunity. It's something that we can see ourselves and other aggregators as well are tapping into.
And Andy, what are your thoughts on the impact of Uber?
Uber weren't around sort of 5 to 10 years ago, but now they are a prolific brand where people sort of go to first in order to try to get from A to B. And a lot of that, obviously, and particularly in America, has come through the airport infrastructure. But with the increase in demand for those types of journeys, from the airport to downtown, puts pressure on infrastructure. So trying to configure access to support those is a question across everyone's minds. And I think it's all about trying to think how that works within the flows of all the other transportation demands. So I think from our internal sources, we recognize that Uber has taken a significant chunk of the rental market, which was typically one-way journeys from the airport to downtown. So it's more replacing, I guess, a mobility format with a new solution that probably works better for a customer than having to queue up and rent a car. They simply hail a ride and get downtown in an Uber.
Sounds as though the appeal of Uber lies in how easy the process is. Arne, how important a trend do you think frictionless parking is?
What we see is that people are really looking to make the reservation really, really easy. So the seamless booking is very important, and that's something what we as Parkos focus on. We see when people go online, they don't want to spend hours and hours looking for a parking spot, and people are always in a hurry. So we help them to make the parking spots booking easy and transparent.
Ben, do you agree with Arne about making the online booking process easier?
I think that's what we're going to see, particularly over the next 2 years, is a much quicker adoption of e-commerce technologies in particular, and of marketing technologies in a broader sense. One of the other trends that we see coming up is voice, and it's actually not just voice, if I'm being honest. It's natural language processing as an interface, so basically voice and chatbots, and methods of interfacing with machines that aren't just ticking boxes on a screen. Again, it's something that is coming from other sectors. It's coming from e-commerce. It's becoming more widely adopted, and as it becomes more widely adopted, it's more and more important for everybody to be aware of it and to be aware of how they can get the most out of voice, how they can even be in voice or be used in a chatbot.
And in terms of airport parking infrastructure, what impact does seamless parking have, Andy?
We're seeing, the whole point about a seamless capability to drive my car up and drop it quickly and go, is becoming more of the trend. And certainly there are airports in the UK that are developing their meet and route services to be self-service. So I guess this puts less pressure on the airport on a resourcing capability and puts more flexibility on a customer to be able to drop their car, to leave their keys, and from the airport then to manage that capacity, having access to the keys in the cars to block park it and park it more efficiently, but without having the need to be there to receive the carriers. I think that whole seamless parking experience is being driven through automation. I mean, one of the other exciting things that we've seen as a trend is how robotics can be used to help park cars and move cars behind the scenes. They're helping the management of those cars being moved, which makes you able to block park cars without having the keys. Now, this is new. I think it's innovative. It's out there and it's just starting to happen now. But again, it's trying to make as much use of the space, but getting around a problem where people don't want to leave their keys, but still their cars can be parked more efficiently.
Yeah, automation clearly has benefits for the customer and airport parking infrastructure. But are there any repercussions? Ed, what's your take on this parking trend?
So we're really in a golden age of civics at the moment, of civil infrastructure. And the parking experience today is very different to what it was 15 years ago. We've got the ability to reserve parking spaces in airport parking online. We've got the ability to monitor those via security cameras. We can pay for it. And when you actually arrive at your building, we have lights that will show you how to find an empty parking space. So this is all very, very powerful. But these great benefits come with a real risk, and that risk is security threats. And already we're starting to see across the world a growth in cities being attacked by cyber terrorists. And an estimate last year is that 80 cities in the United States, so that's 80 cities in the United States, were attacked. And that's up from 53 the year before. You might think, well, how important is it to protect parking? Like what can happen with parking? And if you think about it, when we automate parking, we put inside gates or we put park systems or guidance systems, those things are built on hardware, but they're enabled via software. And more often than not, that software is connected to the internet. And as soon as something is connected to the internet, we have an attack surface. And so if you think about what could happen when people attacked and penetrated that, then they're able to, open gates or close gates and lock people into the building or prevent them from getting into the parking structure. They can change the sign to say something derogatory. They can also siphon off credit cards. So they can do a bunch of things like that, which are going to put you on the front page of the newspaper for all the wrong reasons.
Thank you all for joining Parking Talks today. Your insight into parking airport trends has given us a lot to discuss.
Despite the circumstances we are facing now, we are hopeful that things will steadily improve, and we hope to see you all again in person at future editions of APNE, where we can all share a drink and enjoy a networking dinner at a chosen surprise location. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this virtual edition of APNE 2020.